There's one more thing most people don't consider, and it's not about returns, it's about limits. Your money in the bank is not fully protected. There's a cap. If the bank fails, only a certain amount is guaranteed. Anything above that is exposed. Now, for most people, this won't matter immediately. But if you're holding large amounts of cash in one place, you're taking unnecessary risk. So again, we go back to the same question. Why is that money sitting there? There are only a few valid reasons. You've already built your emergency fund, and now you're saving for something specific: a house, a major expense, something within the next few years. In that case, keeping cash makes sense. Because investing short term money is risky. Markets don't move in straight lines, they fluctuate up, down, sometimes aggressively. If you need that money soon, you can't afford to be wrong on timing. Because if the market drops, you're forced to sell at a loss. That's why time horizon matters. Short term money, stability. Long term money, growth. Simple structure. So if you're holding cash for short term goals, keep it safe. But don't keep everything in one place. Spread it. Stay within protection limits. Reduce risk. Now, there's another risk most people underestimate, and it has nothing to do with markets. It's exposure. The more money you keep visible, the more vulnerable you become. Not just financially, but behaviorally, and even externally. Scams today are highly sophisticated. They don't look like scams. They look real. People get impersonated. Messages look legitimate. Situations feel urgent. And under the right conditions, anyone can make a mistake. It's not about intelligence. It's about environment. Which is why structure matters. Not everything should be easily accessible. Not everything should be visible. Now, let's bring everything together. At this point, the goal isn't to panic. It's to organize. Your money needs a system. Here's a simple one. Step 1. Define your emergency fund. Keep it separate, accessible when needed, but not part of your daily spending. Step 2. Define your short-term money. Anything you'll need within the next few years. Keep it stable, protected. Step 3. Everything else is long-term capital. And that money should be invested. Because this is where real growth happens. Now, let's talk about where that growth can come from. You don't need complexity. You need fundamentals. There are a few core categories. Index funds. Simple, diversified, low effort. You're not trying to beat the market. You're participating in it. For most people, this is the foundation. Then there are skills. This is one of the highest return investments, because once you learn something valuable, you can use it repeatedly. Skills like content creation, editing, writing, sales. These directly increase your income. And unlike assets, they can't be taken from you. Then there are scalable systems, online businesses, digital products, services. Higher effort, higher potential, but also higher failure rate. And then there are speculative areas. Individual stock, crypto, alternative assets, higher risk, uncertain outcomes. These should never be your foundation. They're optional, not essential. The key is balance. Start with stability, build with consistency, expand with experience. And there's one more layer most people ignore: how you invest matters. Because structure affects outcome. Taxes matter, accounts matter, positioning matters. The same investment can produce very different results depending on how it's held. So it's worth taking time to understand where your money sits, how it grows, and how much you actually keep. Now, step back for a second. Most people overcomplicate this, but in reality, the system is simple. Keep what you earn, separate your money, invest long term, increase your value. That's it. If you do this consistently, you will outperform most people because most people never get past step one. They earn, spend, repeat. No structure, no growth. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be intentional. Because once your money has a role, it starts working. And once it starts working, everything changes. Now, let's make this practical. Because theory is nice, but systems build results. Think of your money like a machine. Not complicated, not smart, just consistent. There are 3 core parts. First, the US market. These are the biggest companies in the world. Apple, Amazon, Coca-Cola. When you buy an index, you're not picking winners. You own everything. Second, international markets. Companies outside the US. Europe, Japan, Canada. This is diversification. If one market drops, another can carry you. Third, bonds. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think bonds are boring. Good. Boring is what protects you. Bonds don't explode in value, but they don't crash either. They smooth the ride. Think of them like shock absorbers. Without them, one bad hit can destroy everything. Now the key question. How do you split your money? Simple rule. The younger you are, the more risk you can take. The older you are, the more stability you need. Example. Aggressive. 90% stocks, 10% bonds. Higher growth, higher volatility. Balanced. 80% stocks, 20% bonds. Less stress, still strong growth. More conservative. 60% US market, 30% international, 10% bonds. Not perfect, but solid. And here's where most people miss the point. It's not about picking the perfect investment. It's about consistency. Again and again and again. Wealth is not built by decisions. It's built by repetition. Now, the next layer, income. Because investing alone is not enough. If your income is small, you can't build wealth without cash flow. This is where skills come in. Skills are leverage. They are the fastest way to increase income. Editing, copywriting, sales, content, anything that creates value. You earn more, you invest more, you accelerate everything. That's the loop. Now, the second pillar, 15%, stability. And this is where most people fail. Not because of bad investing, but because of one hit. One unexpected expense. Let me show you. When I was 18, I needed a car. Like most people, I took a loan. Bought something decent. Even upgraded a few things. For a few months, everything felt great. Then it happened. The engine failed. Completely. And here's the problem. I had no backup. No reserve. No system. And that's when things spiral. It's not just the repair. It's everything after. Debt increases, stress increases, pressure increases. One mistake sets you back a year. This is why stability matters more than you think. It's not about saving money. It's about staying in the game. Most people are not broke. They are unstable. One bill, one problem, one mistake, and everything collapses. With a reserve, it's just an inconvenience. Without it, it's a crisis. That's why this 15% matters. It won't make you rich, but it will stop you from becoming poor again. When you combine 25% growth, 15% stability, plus increasing income, you enter a level most people never reach because they ignore the fundamentals. And without fundamentals, everything eventually breaks. Even if you invest, you can still lose money. Not because your strategy is bad, but because your timing is wrong. If life hits you and you're forced to sell at the worst moment, you lose. That's why you need margin for error. A system that protects you when things go wrong. Let's break it down. Step 1. Calculate your stability fund. Start simple. List your essential expenses. Not everything, only what you actually need to survive. Rent, food, utilities, transport, internet, for work, not Netflix. Add everything together. This is your baseline. Let's say it's $1,500 per month. Now, multiply that by 5. That's your target, $7,500. That's your safety layer. Every month, 15% of your income goes here. Yes, it sounds aggressive, but life doesn't warn you. Problems don't schedule themselves. If you only have 1 or 2 months saved, you're exposed. Now step 2. Where you keep this money matters. Not just how much, but where. 3 rules. First, access must be instant. This money should be available within 24 hours. No penalties, no waiting periods. If you lose your job and can't access your money, the system failed. Speed matters more than interest. Second, 0 risk. This is not investment money. No stocks, no crypto, no safe opportunities. Because when emergencies happen, markets can crash. And now you've lost money when you needed it most. Third, it should still grow slightly. Not aggressively, but enough to fight inflation. Because money sitting at 0% is losing value every year. That's why high-yield savings accounts exist. Simple, safe, liquid. Now step 3. Build it fast. Most people think this takes years. It doesn't. If you use the right system. 3 tactics. First, pay yourself instantly. The moment money hits your account, 15% is gone. Automatically. No thinking, no emotions. Second, replace what you use. If you take $250 from your fund, you put it back immediately. Like it never left. That's discipline. Third, save while spending. Sounds strange, but it works. Roundup systems. Spend $360, it becomes $4. 40 cents goes into savings. You don't feel it, but it compounds. Same with cashback. If you earn rewards, don't spend them. Redirect them into your safety fund. Now, once this fund is complete, you have options. You can push more into growth or use the next layer. And this is where most people fail. 50% essentials. Not lifestyle, not status. Survival. More than 60% of people earning over 100K still live paycheck to paycheck. Not because they earn too little, but because they spend too much. Let me show you. I had a friend. From the outside, he looked successful. Designer clothes, expensive watch, always spending. I looked the opposite. Basic clothes, cheap watch, minimal spending. But here's the reality. He had $40 in his account and credit card debt. I had $1,000 invested and growing. That's the difference. Wealth is invisible. Most people confuse appearance with reality. And that's where lifestyle inflation starts. I need a better car. I deserve better food. This is normal. And slowly, expenses grow, not your wealth. So, how do you control it? Step 1. Define essentials correctly. Most people won't like this because what they call needs are actually luxuries. Real essentials are simple: housing, food, utilities, transport, basic clothing. That's it. Not takeout, not subscriptions, not unused gym memberships, not 5 streaming services. All of that, leakage. And leakage destroys your system because it's never one big expense. It's small ones, repeated every day. And that's how people earning good money still feel broke, because they never controlled the base. And without control, there is no growth. If you go to the gym and actually use it, that's different. But most people don't. They sign up and never show up. And that's how money disappears. Quietly. Every month.
So here's one of the easiest wins you'll ever get. Open your bank statement, go line by line, and cancel everything you don't use. Simple. Because if it doesn't help you live, work, or stay healthy, it doesn't belong in your 50%. That's the rule. And here's why this matters. Most people already spend 60, even 70% of their income on things they think are necessary. So when you force yourself down to 50%, you're not restricting your life. You're removing the illusion. You're cutting the noise. And something powerful happens. Your mindset shifts. You stop asking, how can I spend more? And start asking, how can I earn more? That's the turning point. Because real growth doesn't come from saving pennies. It comes from controlling the big levers. Housing, transportation. These are the decisions that actually change your life, not your $5 coffee. Now think about this. Most people will ignore everything you just heard. They'll keep spending, keep justifying, keep repeating the same cycle, and stay stuck. But a small percentage will actually act. They'll build a system.
They'll take control. And over time, they'll separate themselves from everyone else. So the question is simple. Which one are you? If you're serious about understanding money, not just making it, but actually keeping it and growing it, then subscribe. Because on this channel, we don't chase trends. We build systems. And systems change everything. I'll see you in the next video.